Welcome to another inspiring message from Victory Church. We believe that God is at work right now to bring victory to your life. For more information about Victory Church, find us online at www.victorychurchnwa.com.
Something is about to change within you. Get ready. This is the moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now.
Thank you guys for this morning. Sometimes it's a while to sit, but I think one of my favorite things about Victory Church is that we don't really do templates. Do you guys know what I mean by a template? Okay, we're doing these 3 things, and then we're shifting to these 3 things, and then we're only going to spend 4.5 minutes on this, and while if that's what works for other people, fine, totally not judging, but here we operate by the Spirit. So when worship needs to go, because the Spirit is moving, worship will go because the Spirit is moving. When there are 75,000 babies at the front, we will pray over 75,000 babies because this is not about time. The time is the Lord's. You showed up, but it's not about time. Pastor says that all the time. It's not about your lunch schedule. Okay, so JW preached a message last week on sowing. And if it's a 2-part message that follows sowing, anyone have any guesses on what we're going to talk about? Yes. We are, but we're going to put a little bit of a spin on it. So last week, of course, he talked about sowing, and we know that every day, through every single choice we make, our words, our time, our service, our resources are consistently planting seeds, right? This morning, complete planting seeds. From the babies that are getting ready to enter Head Start, planting seeds. From the teenagers that are finishing, still planting seeds. And as Pastor JW talked about scattering the seeds and the sowing that takes place once you scatter, sowing is so much more than just the thought. Whenever we encourage someone, we're sowing. Whenever we serve, we're sowing. If you weren't able to make it yesterday, go look at the Facebook stuff. This isn't about social media posts, but when I tell you the smiles, I sent this message last night. When I saw the smiles of the moms that may have otherwise not even been able to get their kids ready for school, we had moms still offering Sierra money, even though they were free haircuts. But when I saw the smile of those moms that realized they could send their kids to school nice and fresh for that first day, even if they couldn't afford it, it's sowing. So when we serve, we're sowing. When we pray, we're sowing. Whenever we give, we're sowing. Nobody likes to talk about giving. I already know that. No one likes to talk about giving. But as you know, it's not about what you like. It's about what's necessary. You see, when we return the tithe, so it is about return. You know why? Because God gave you every single thing that you have. And he asked for a portion of it to be returned. So whenever we return the tithe and offering back to God, we're sowing into the work of the kingdom. Is that not what we were sent to do? The kingdom isn't just you. So today we're going to talk about the other side of the process. As we just said, clearly, if we talked about sowing, we're going to be talking about reaping. And the truth is, everybody likes to talk about the harvest. Who does not love a harvest? Everyone love a harvest? We love increase. Who likes increase? Look, I'm not going to be holier than thou. I like an increase. We like answered prayers. The miracles that come that we weren't expecting. The ones we spent so long on our knees for. We love the miracles, the answered prayers. We like the open doors. We've been praying for so long, but that door still hasn't opened. We love the open doors. Who likes to see lives changed? Yeah. We like watching our church grow, families restored, and our needs met. But there can be no harvest without a seed. There can be no reaping without sowing. Let's go to the Word. If you can open your Bibles to 2 Corinthians 9, we're going to go to verses 6 through 8. I'll give you a second if you're using your Bibles or your mobile device. Are we able to get that up, Michael? Okay, we're moving on. 2 Corinthians 9, 6 through 8. Hey, you're actually going to have to listen to me. Okay, there, it's up. Remember this. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will be abound in every good work. So what's Paul doing? Paul's connecting the sowing and reaping directly to giving. So we like to hear about, okay, I'm going to scatter the seeds, I'm going to sow, and then I'm going to have the harvest, but it's actually about giving. He teaches us that generosity is like planting the seed. You see, what leaves our hand, we think it's gone. I gave my tithe. I gave my time. I gave. It came out of my hand. But what leaves our hands does not leave God's attention. He sees it. He uses it. And here's the part we get confused on. When we think about the harvest, it's what we want. Okay, God, I gave my tithe. I've been tithing faithfully for the last however many years, God. Now I'm waiting on the harvest. But the harvest is God's will and how He sees what He needs to give you to do what He needs you to do. So today I actually want to talk about the grace of reaping. So what's reaping? It's not just the other part of the equation. It means cutting and gathering a grain crop or gaining a reward or profit from your actions. So here's the deal. Reaping is not a principle, or reaping is a principle, not a gimmick. You following? Let's go to Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. So the principle of sowing and reaping is the principle of God. This isn't something people make up. It's not something someone gets on a stage. It's not a peanut butter equals jelly equation. What you sow produces what you will reap. And when we talk about the harvest and when we talk about reaping, it really comes down to two big things, the what and the when. So what you plant is what you get. What are you planting right now? Does the farmer plant corn and expect to get apples? What are you planting? The second part is the when. And this is the part we get super stuck on. God, I've been tithing my whole life. God, I'm still broke. The when is how soon we can expect the harvest. And here's the deal. When the farmer plants one day, does he then go dig up the seed the next morning because nothing has happened? No. That's a faith move. The farmer understands that the seed must go into the ground. It must then be covered. It must be watered, and it needs time. And in the same way, the Bible teaches us that what we are planting is the seed of the fruit we will reap. How many people are waiting on more fruit? Fine, I'll be the only one. No one in the room is waiting on fruit? Woo! Y'all must have it all together. Okay, I'll take it. I'm waiting on more fruit. Because there's one of my favorite things that Pastor says all the time. We are not the judge. I do not judge you. I'm not here to judge you. But what I am is a fruit inspector. Do y'all remember when he says that? He said that multiple times. I'm a visual person. So if you see people that are not bearing fruit, it's not about judgment. If you see yourself and you're like, I want to see more fruit, well, then what do you need to do? Maybe there's something you need to get back with God on, right? It's not that it will ever be rainbows and butterflies on this side of heaven and you'll be sitting there in every single thing you ever needed and wanted. Jesus didn't promise that life to us. But what are you planting? If you're getting something you don't like, maybe you need to go back to the root and figure out what's been planted. When we sow kindness, we create opportunities for kindness. So if you feel like people aren't being kind and nice to you, are you being kind and nice? When we sow encouragement, we strengthen people. You know what? How many people in this room are going through something? I'll be the only one again, because I know y'all don't like to raise your hands very much, but in the midst of going through something, you know the best way to get through? It's to remove your focus from you and what you're going through. How about you reach out to someone and say, hey, I just want to let you know I was thinking about you. I'm praying for you. It takes like 2 seconds. Just send a text. If you're busy, you don't even have to pick up the phone. Just send a text. But the power that comes from encouraging people, when we sow forgiveness, that's a hard one. Not that person, not that thing they did to me. But when you sow forgiveness, you open the door to healing. And listen, there has been something super heavy on me about what we have not been doing a lot of as a corporate body at Victory, and that's prayer. We do all the things really good. We're checking a lot of boxes, okay? Like, we come on Sunday, we start service at 10, start the live at 10:30. We do all that. We finish service, maybe like 11:30 or 12, depending on who's preaching. But where's the prayer? And prayer is not 2 people's job. Prayer is not 4 people's job. Prayer as a corporate body, something different comes from that. So you're going to start seeing more opportunities. And listen, nobody's here to force you to do anything. We're going to have some very intentional opportunities as a church body to come together for prayer. You come or you don't. It depends on what you want to see in your life. Remember, what you plant is what you get. When we sow prayer, we build spiritual strength. So if you're feeling weak, it's a great opportunity. When we serve financially, and we sow financially into the Word of God, we provide resources for ministry, outreach, worship. None of this happens for free, just so we're clear. Whether you put your money in or not, it's not happening for free. And ministry is not all about money, y'all. I'm not up here sitting here talking about you're not giving enough, but I'm talking to you about reaping, and I'm talking to you about the harvest that does not come without the giving. Ministry is not all about money. It's so much more than money. What do you have to give? Truthfully, not all of us have a ton of money right now to give. Like, inflation is crazy right now. Some of us have more than others, but it's not just about your money. What do you have to give? Some of us do have the money to give. Some of us have time to give. Y'all, time equals money. In a real world calculation of data, time equals money. So what do you have? This building, this ministry, the lights, for us to even be able to see in here, they don't happen by themselves. And God provides. There's no mistake, right? That it's not just your dollar. But God provides, but He's also called each one of us to determine what is our part in kingdom giving. What does that look like for you? And giving is not a way to control God. I'll tell you, I was at a conference this past week in Vegas. I do not gamble because for me, that's like opening up the trash can and just putting all my dollars in. I work too hard for my money for that. But I watched people as I would walk by just putting those dollars in, pushing those buttons. And I didn't watch from a place of judgment. I try to really stay away from that. Everyone's in a different place. But I watched trying to understand the logic of just putting it in. They're expecting a return. Like, even though the percentage of what you actually get back is like very little, most of the time you get nothing back, they're still putting those dollars in. Okay? They're still putting those dollars in. So we know what the kingdom produces and gives back. But we're still like, oh God, I got to tithe this week. Where am I going to pull that from? But God is not a spiritual slot machine. So when we put in $10, we're like, okay, I gave my 10. God, I better get $100 back from this. That's not how God works. You see, but we have confused the blessing with constant multiplication. We do not give so that we can manipulate God into making us wealthy. We give because God is worthy and He gave first. We give because everything we have ultimately came from Him. You see, it's about perspective. So I'm one to you hear something and it gives you perspective. Even the things we've already known. We maybe have known certain things since the beginning of time, but there's something about hearing it. There's something different about somebody saying something to you. And so I have this perspective of everything I have in my life. And trust me, I'm not proclaiming to be perfect or holier than that. I fall short every single day. But my perspective is everything I have is God's anyway, so why not give it out? It's not mine. Maybe if the perspective shifted from, I earned these dollars, they are mine, so I cannot give them to someone else. Maybe if we shifted to, it's not mine anyways. I was actually given it to give to everyone else. Do you think our giving patterns would change? If it's not yours anyways, how can you not give it? And look, I know some of y'all are thinking, okay, Tiffany, not mine. I went to work every single day this week and I worked 10 hours a day. I earned that paycheck. So how are you telling me it's not mine? Who gave you that job? It wasn't you, I can promise you that. Who even put you in a place to be able to show up every single day? We complain about going to work, y'all, but what if you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have any legs to go to work with? Things would suddenly shift, right? What we complain about. We give because giving reflects His nature. We see it in John 3:16. It starts out, for God so loved the world, He gave. Right? God is a giver. And our goal is to become more like our Father while we are here. So if we want to become more like our Father, maybe we need to look at what we're actually giving back. The harvest and the reaping are great. But the harvest and the reaping are not merely the only reason we should be giving. The harvest is a result from God, from the faithful seed. Sometimes the harvest is financial provision. It's not that God's not going to give back. He always does. Think about the many times you thought you weren't going to make it or be able to pay that light bill. Anybody been there? Still just me? Sometimes it is financial provision. Sometimes it's an opportunity. You know that opportunity we've been waiting on, that door we've been talking about opening? Sometimes it's an opportunity. Sometimes it's just peace. I don't know about y'all, but I'm in a season of I just want peace. And anything that's taking from that, I'm not doing it. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's relationship or healing a relationship. But sometimes the harvest does not come directly back to us. That's the thing. We think it's an equation. If I give, then the harvest will come back to me. Your giving isn't always about you. Sometimes it appears in the life of someone else. What about all these kids we just saw at the stage? Do you know children's church and the materials don't happen on accident? Do you know that they're not free? Do you know that your giving shows up in the fact that they're learning about Jesus and can take it to this broken world? If we do not give to the ministry, what are we expecting to come out of the ministry? What are we planting? Are we living on scraps? And then are we getting scraps? And I want you guys as a church body, you don't even need to say anything out loud, but I want you to ask yourself, Victory Church, what are we giving? An offering might help a family survive a very difficult season, and we've all walked through those. What about the ministry that strengthened you when you were weak? Anybody been there? Oh my, I know I have. You see, the problem is we forget where we come from. We forgot that we are living in the prayers that we prayed for, but we're complaining because now we want something else. I want something else. I want more, God. I want more. I got comfortable on this salary, Lord. Where's the promotion? I want more money. What are you even doing with your extra money? But we forget where we came from. And my other favorite part is like, y'all know the iceberg? Have you guys heard of like the iceberg? What is it? The image iceberg effect? But you see like just the pretty top. The iceberg sitting on the top. But you don't see everything that person has walked through and been through to be able to get to the iceberg you're seeing on top. And we have forgotten where we came from. I remember the days of being a single mom, pawning every single piece of my jewelry so I could feed my 2-year-old. We forgot where we've come from. Don't get confused on what you see today, y'all. And this is not just about me, this is about everyone. You have no idea what people have walked through. You have no idea where they've come from and what God has delivered them to just to be sitting in this room today. And all of this is harvest, all of it. We've got to stop measuring the harvest by money, so hear me on that. It's not just about what's coming into your bank account. God's harvest is so much bigger than money. But reaping truly requires trusting God with the seed. Let's go to Proverbs 3:9. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. What does first fruits mean? Let's get interactive for a second. What is first fruits? Somebody, anyone. The first of everything you make. So it wasn't like, let me pay my bills, Lord, and then I'm going to give you what I have left over here. It's the first fruits of your crop. Giving is an act of honor. I think all of us want to honor the Lord, right? Giving is an act of honor because it's not about me. It's not about this bucket. It's not about victory. It is about honor. It says, God, I recognize that I am broke, but you are my source. So I am actually still in my house, even if it's late, or in my car when I'm not sure where the next payment's going to come from, only because you are my source. Because let me tell you, your employer might sign your paycheck, God is still your source. Your business might be creating revenue, God is still your source. And listen, we talked about skills this morning and talents this morning. And listen, they create opportunities. So you were given talents to create opportunities. But who is it that gave you the mind? Who gave you the strength? Who gave you the ability and breath to actually use those skills? God is our source. And tithing is a way that for us as believers, we are able to consistently honor God with the first portion of what He's given us. The word tithe means tenth, right? And it's not just about a calculation, but it is the first. He only asks for 10%. 10. The God that gave you 100 asked you for 10. If you gave me 100% of something and you needed it, were you only going to ask me for 10? Probably going to ask you for a lot more than that, but I'm human. It's the reality of it. But the tithe teaches us that it's about putting God first and giving Him the first versus what's left for us. Because mostly, I don't know about you guys, there's typically not a lot left. And it's challenging because we live in a culture that says, hold on to everything you can. It's yours. It's mine. It's all about me. Hold on to it. And fear tells you there may not be enough. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pay these bills. But faith says, God is my provider. And He always makes a way. Fear says, go take care of yourself first. Go take care of all the things. We'll get to God with what we've got left. That's not what faith says. Faith says to honor God first, practice wisdom, and give. Because He will always, always take care of it. And it does, what I'm not saying is, okay, I'm not saying to ignore your budget. Okay, so I'm not like, go give all your money away and then you don't. That's ridiculous, okay? But it does mean that biblical stewardship includes planning and wisdom and discipline. Because giving first is definitely discipline when you know you've got all these bills that you already don't make enough to cover. That takes discipline. That takes faith, and that takes trust. Because in this world, it's all ours, and we have to make sure it's all paid and taken care of. We can't really claim that God owns everything without refusing to trust him with anything. Like, if God owns everything and leads everything, but we cannot give him anything, what are we actually saying? We don't need you. I've got this. I'm fine. Everything's fine. And there's a moment that every giver must face when the seed actually leaves the hand. The farmer releases the seed. JW talked about it last week, scattering all the seeds. But when the seeds, you actually talked about it from AJ. AJ, you were talking about the risk, right, of scattering seed. You and JW had a conversation, and he shared that with us last week. JW asked him, like, how risky is it to just scatter seed? And AJ, if I'm correct, right? It's extremely risky. Like, you will scatter 1 million and maybe get a couple, right? You just don't know what you're going to get. If I held those seeds in my hand, they're safe, right? Like, at least I know that they're seeds. But when I throw and scatter them, I don't know what's going to happen. But as long as you're keeping those seeds in your hand, you hear me right now about your seed? As long as you're keeping the seed in your hand, it cannot multiply. You want more money? Are you scattering the seed? Are you giving? And that doesn't even have to be about church. It doesn't even have to be about tithing, y'all. Giving is not just about tithing. Maybe the homeless person that's on the corner. Maybe a single mom that you know is struggling to pay a bill. If it stays in your hand, how are you expecting multiplication? The seed must be released. And giving may feel like a loss when we're only focusing on the moment of release. I just threw all 100 seeds I have, and now I have nothing. In logic, that feels like a loss, right? Feels like I have nothing. That money, that moment that the money is no longer in our account, that's real, y'all. We live in a real world where they come and take things from you, right? The resource is no longer in our possession. And time. How many of you guys have tons of extra time? No one. No matter what stage of life you're in, even when you retire, we're all doing a million things. No one is sitting on an extra amount of time. So when I give even my time to show up, that time is now no longer available for whatever else I want to do or the other 15 things I've had planned. But what are you planting? Was the grocery store where you reaped? Maybe it was. I don't know. What did you do while you were in there? Did you cover somebody that was in front of you? But if you had a choice in doing your 15 errands or being somewhere where you could actually make sure that a community is being served, what are you planting? Because in God's hands, what appears to be lost becomes infinitely more. In our hands, $10, maybe I can buy a meal. I don't know. Happy Meals are a lot of money now. He loves chitney, which is chicken. There's so much money. So it may buy one meal in my hands. So what's in our hands seems so small, but with God, it stretches it as far as He needs it to. Y'all, we've seen this over and over again in the Bible, where Jesus fed the multitudes. Have we not seen an example over and over and over again? The young boy had 5 loaves and 2 fish. Is that enough to feed thousands of people in our real world minds? 5 loaves and 2 fish. Should that have fed thousands? No. But when it was placed in the hands of Jesus, it became more than enough. It did not become just enough. Did they run out of food? No. They had extra. They had overflow. So it's not enough. It was more than enough when it's placed in his hands. But the miracle did not start if that little boy thought to myself, I only have 5 loaves and 2 fish, and I have to make it for the next several days. If he never gave the loaves and fish, would the multitudes have been fed? Would the miracle that we read about and probably take for granted because it's in the Bible that sometimes comes up on a screen when we come to church, Would the miracle have happened without the giving? I know you think your seed is small. And I know you think your gift doesn't really matter that much, but little becomes much when it's surrendered to God. Can I tell you that reaping, so the harvest that we all love, is connected to your heart? It's connected to the condition of your heart. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 9:7. It's part of the original, but there's a piece I wanted to pluck out to reemphasize. Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give. Now, this comes from the Bible, okay? Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. God is not just concerned about what we give, but also how do we give it. Okay, God. Two people can give the same amount of money from two completely different hearts. One can give with joy, the other with resentment. One can give as an act of worship, because it is worship. The honor is all worship. It's not just standing on a stage singing. And the other could give to be noticed. Those are my faves. Oh, dear Lord. One can give from faith, and the other can give because they feel pressured. This is not about pressure. But Jesus paid attention to the heart of the giver. You guys remember the story in Mark 12, right? In that story, Jesus watched people placing their large offerings into the temple treasury. He watched that. Probably saw it week over week over week. And the wealthy people gave all their money. Like, see me. I'm giving $10,000. But the poor widow came with 2 coins. 2. Do you think they didn't have things to pay for back then? But she came with 2 coins. And Jesus said she had given more than all the others because they gave out of their abundance and she gave out of her poverty. So if you're waiting to be wealthy to give, what does Jesus honor? 2 coins is better than thousands when it comes from the heart. Jesus was showing us that heaven measures generosity different than we do. It's the message he left behind for us. People look at the dollars given, the calculation. But God looks at the heart. He looks at the sacrifice, and he looks at more than anything the obedience. When we give, we're saying, Lord, thank you for providing for me. Lord, I trust you. I don't have enough to pay all of my bills this month. But I know what happens when I give. I know what you will do with this, and ultimately, who's after the eternity? Is anybody here for now? Just curious. So, the eternity is what we're all after, but what we do here determines. And Jesus did warn us, you cannot serve both God and money. Money is a useful servant, but it is a terrible master. Terrible. Giving breaks the power of greed, though. It breaks it. And giving reminds our hearts that our security is not found in what we possess. So when it leaves our hands, we will still be okay. Matter of fact, remember the multiplication? Not only will we be okay, wherever it went to, 2 of us get to be okay now. And then maybe that person saw that they were okay. They give. Someone else is now okay. It's the multiplication. So I want you to ask yourself, am I giving because I love God? Am I giving with gratitude? These are questions for you to ask yourself. I'm not looking for any answers. Am I being faithful with what I've been given? I don't know. Am I seeking attention? Am I responding to pressure like, oh my gosh, she just gave a message on giving? Like, let me start giving today. That's between you and the Lord. I was at a conference yesterday and they said the message is not what changes your life. We come to get a message, right? But the message is not actually what changes your life. It's actually what you do with the message. It's the action you take once you leave the message. It's not about pressure. You give whatever you need to. I'm going to be fine either way because he takes care of me. Just ask yourself, am I being faithful? Am I responding to pressure? Am I trusting God? Or am I trying to negotiate with him? And my final point is reaping requires patience and perseverance. So you scattered the seed and you've been sowing. Who's still waiting? Also only me? Okay, 2 people in this room are waiting. I want to be y'all when I grow up. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And this verse is for every person who's been faithful and not seen the results, and I feel this deeply. You've been sowing and sowing and sowing, but the harvest is yet to come. You've been praying on your knees. I have watched many people in this room praying. I have heard the prayers at the altar. You've been praying. You've been serving. I can't tell you the pride as I watch people consistently show up. Not to be seen, but because they know what happens when we serve others. They know what happens when their time did not trump God's plans. You have been giving. God, I have been giving. Where's the harvest? And perhaps you're wondering, Lord, when am I going to get to see the fruit? Well, the answer is in his time. The farmer does not control the season. He just participates in the process, and that's what we're doing. We're participating in the process. 1 Corinthians 3:6 says, I planted the seed. Apollos watered it, but God has been making it grow. So your serving and your giving and your obedience should all be done, but it is not you that dictates the harvest or when it comes. God gives the increase. Don't compare your middle to someone else's harvest. And this is the human piece in us. We are great at comparing ourselves to others. She always gets the harvest. Look at all the things he does. Look where they go. Why not me? I want the harvest. That's us as humans. That is us. Nobody shake your head no, because it's all of us. Okay? That's just how we are. Don't uproot your seed because it didn't grow as fast as you wanted it to. God is doing something, you guys. I want you to look around at the room. Do we have more empty seats or do we have more people in chairs? Empty seats. And you know what? It's not just about the building or the seat. But think about what you actually get when you come here. Can you do life every single day without coming and serving and honoring God in the same way you can when you come? I can't. When I miss a Sunday, I know my next week is infinitely harder. I know when I don't get up in the morning and pray and read my Bible and journal, my day is hell. It is. But we're tired and we don't want to get up early. I'm tired, God. I need to sleep 30 more minutes. Well, do whatever you need to do is exactly what he's saying. Like if that's what you think 30 more minutes will set your day up, sleep 30 more minutes. You guys, we have lost the discipline. We have lost the obedience and we've lost the discipline, and then we want to ask ourselves why. We're doing everything we can, Lord. Why are people still not coming? Well, we got to go back and look at some seeds. You get what you plant. What are we planting? Keep sowing, keep trusting, keep obeying. Some harvests will be seen in this life, and others will not be revealed until eternity. But what if you don't get eternity? Because you were so scared about what you were going to lose in this life. I don't care about this life. Your hard, complicated life is this much of the rope. Francis Chan uses that. He's like, you guys are so caught up in everything you have going on, it's this much. If you knew you were fretting over this much and the rest was eternity, fret on, right? I mean, come on, this much? Everything you're walking through today is this much of the rope. I want eternity. I don't care about any of this. I'm here. Believe you me, I'm here only because he told me to be. I was going to be a lawyer. I never wanted to be a pastor. I didn't even grow up in church. Y'all know that. Like, I had no desire to be a pastor. But when God called me in the middle of my MBA to stop and go do a master's in divinity, I had to Google it. I didn't even know what that was. I didn't grow up in church. I don't know what that means. And at that point, I was never still going to be a pastor. Little did I know what God had for me on the other side. And you know what that education gave me? Didn't give me a one-up on anyone other than I can refute word that is not correct. I refuse to take what people serve me because they have a certain title. But if you do not know the word, then you're taking whatever you're served. True statement? We are called for more than that, y'all. But what are you planting? It all goes back to what are you planting? And the image I have stuck in my mind is that our hands are closed. Are your hands closed today? Now this is an honest reality check for yourself. Are your hands closed? I see closed hands. And not in this room, in this world. People are dying every single day and have no idea that the other end of the rope is available for them. I want you guys to stand. And I know we got mamas with babies, and I know we probably got tissues in our hands because Lord knows I snotted the whole worship and through the kids' piece. But I want you to open your hands. Everybody open your hands. All hands open. Now lift those open hands. Because they're not just here like, I want to receive a little bit, God. I have my hands right here because I don't want to lift my hands, God. I don't want to lift my hands. Okay, God, I don't want to lift my hands. Because people are looking at me and I'm embarrassed. Lift your hands. God is saying, I cannot fill your hands until you open them. You want multiplication and fruit, but you're giving me nothing. He says, open your hands. When you leave this building and you go back to the hell outside of these walls, open your hands. God, we come to you today, God. Hands are raised. Palms and fingers are open, God. We are tired of living the life of little, God. And we don't open our hands, God. We don't open our hands for more money. God, we are opening our hands because we are surrendering. We are surrendering trying to do it all. We are surrendering trying to figure it all out. We are surrendering trying to be fine. God, there is no fine outside of you, God. So today we release the seeds in our hand. We release the dollars to your kingdom, God. We release our time, God. Our schedules will not trump what it is you've called us to do. God, I pray for each and every person in this room. I pray for every open hand for multiplication, for prosperity, so it can then be replicated. It can be multiplied and given back to your kingdom, God. I pray for each and every person in this room, God. I pray that we remember whose we are. That we remember that every single thing we have came from Him, God. And then we turn around and give it all back in a way. God, we're sorry for where we've fallen short, God. But we know You are the God of chance after chance after chance. So today, God, we vow to open our hands. We vow to open our hearts, God. We vow to open our minds, God. And all things go back to where it came from. We love You. We honor You. And in Your Son's name, amen. So we're going to take a few minutes. And I actually want this to be less of an altar call. And because altar calls are incredible and there's power that comes from there. But they've also become routine. They've become routine. And there's still people, which is okay, that don't come because they don't want somebody to see them walk to the front. If I walk to the front, everyone will know I have an issue. I got issues. We all got issues. We all got issues. But what if we all came? Then he or she wouldn't be embarrassed. But you only go to the front. If you need help or got issues, we all got issues. So why does the altar always stay empty? And don't worry. Someone's not going to randomly pray over you if you don't want them to. Coming is about surrender. You just open your hands and say, God, I give You. So today, let's just come to the altar. If you want prayer, great. If you don't, that's okay. This is about you and God. This is not about you and Tiffany. This is about you and God. And this is about you saying, okay, God, I heard You today. And I probably have had my hands more closed and open. But today I get another chance. Today I get to do it different again. And today I'm going to give my first and my best to You. So let's just spend some time. Here's the deal. We'll go into offering after that, but this isn't about your dollars in the bucket. I want you to hear me. This message was not about your dollars in the bucket. If God has called you to put $1 in the bucket, put $1 in the bucket. This is not Tiffany pressuring you. This is about saying, God, I surrender to You my heart, because I can't give You from my hands if my heart is still closed up. So just come. Everybody just come. It's okay. I'm not going to do anything you don't want to do, but I think this is about you and God, not about Tiffany. So just come. Spend a few minutes with Him. This is just about you and Him. This is the place that you get to be directly with Him. You're with Him at home and in the car and all the places. This isn't the only place, but there's something different about coming. There's something so very different about your knees. I have a hard time getting up and down. But there's something so very different. And when everybody comes, no one's looking because everyone's there. God, it's about You. God, it's about our family here, our church family. My favorite part of watching families gather at the altar is family are not your DNA. We all just come and circle up. So just take a few minutes. This is you and God. If you need prayer, we're here. Let us know. But you just be with God. Raise those hands. Your hands are open. You've already opened them. You've already, God, I'm now standing here. My hands are open, God. I want what You want for me, God. Whatever replication that looks like, whatever multiplication that looks like, but God, it's about You. It is not about me. God, forgive me for where I've made it about me. Where I just needed to be heard. Where I just needed to be seen, God. Where I just had to be the one. God hears you. He honors you. He honors the coming. He honors the surrender.
We hope you enjoyed this message from Victory Church. For more information about Victory Church or to browse our media library, find us online at www.victorychurchnwa.com. Thanks be to God, who always leads us in victory.